Hello guys, in this video I will be talking about my experience crossing the land border between US and Canada via Niagara Falls as an Indian student on F1 visa and who is working under STEM OPT. Previously I have traveled to Canada via flight and even by bus via the Detroit-Windsor border when I was living in Chicago. Uh, I I always had an easier immigration experience at land borders compared to immigration experience at airports, which can be stressful and you can be asked a lot of questions. But in the last 2 months, I have crossed this border, the Niagara Falls border, around 6 to 8 times, and it has been the easiest immigration experience yet for me personally. So basically, when we approach the border from the US side, I travel from Washington, D.C. towards Pennsylvania and then upstate New York, and we approach the Niagara Falls border. There's a bridge over Niagara Falls, and when you approach it from the US side, the bridge is called Peace Bridge. And as you can see, it's night time. And by the way, this is not rain, it's just Niagara Falls. If you ever have been to Niagara Falls, this is all mist because of the enormous size of the waterfall. And it is usually this much crowded only. I've never had to wait more than 15 minutes here. Also, because you're crossing from the US side and going towards Canada side, so this is Canadian immigration, but they do have a toll at the end of it because this bridge is owned by US, I think. So I have an easy pass, so it's always smooth experience for me. But if you don't have an easy pass, you will have to pay toll manually at the kiosk in one of the lanes. So in this Canadian immigration, you just have to present your passport and your Canadian visitor visa or whatever immigration document you have from Canada. And this time I was asked for my I-20. I've never been asked about my I-20 from Canadian immigration officers, so this was weird for me, but that's fine. But I do remember once I was asked about my I-20 at US Customs when I was traveling from US to Canada through the Detroit border, and I was in a bus, so I should have had it on me. But the thing is, you are technically required to have it when you are entering the US. So I got a little confused, and the US custom officer scared me a lot at that time that you don't have it on yourself and you won't be allowed back. And I got scared, but he couldn't stop me from entering Canada. So that was fine. I entered Canada and I did reach out to my DSO, and they told me that the max they can do is basically deny me entry when I'm coming back, and they can't do anything to my visa because he was saying that my visa will be cancelled and only USCIS can do that. And plus, I think he was confused to whether I would be able to get a signed I-20 because I think he was under the impression that you will have to have a physically signed copy, but in the latest rules you can have like an electronically signed, like physically signed but electronically sent it to you via mail and print it out and sign it, and that is a valid I-20. So I think I was a little confused, but yeah, don't ever be scared when this happens. Just remember that while you're entering US you should have I-20, and if you're exiting US and somebody asks you, is I don't think it's a requirement, but it's always good to have that document on you whenever you're traveling in and out of US. So, well, coming back from Canada, usually you take the QEW highway to Niagara Falls, and the bridge coming from the Canadian side is called the Rainbow Bridge. And last time I remember the line was very long. I think it started way behind this point, but and it took me like around 45 minutes to clear it. But this time I was lucky. I think it was around New Year, so not many people were traveling, so it took me like 15 minutes. So while entering as a F1 student, you should have your passport, obviously your F1 visa, and most importantly your I-20, and if you're working on OPT, your EAD card. I was never asked about my EAD at this checkpoint and any other document, to be honest. They just asked for my passport and I-20, and I think I remember once they didn't even ask for my I-20. So I think this is again, it's the easiest border experience I've ever had. I remember once I was traveling with my friends with 7 bags in my car, and we were like all packed, but we were never stopped or checked out because that could have been a big inconvenience. But again, So including those experiences, I think this has been the way more efficient and way more easier way to cross the border compared to the airport experience, and even like the Detroit Windsor border, I think. So yeah, I just wanted to share this experience with you guys, and do let me know if you have any more questions about crossing borders as an infant student, or if you have any other experience you might want to share.